said you didn't want him to see it coming.
Yes.
What did you hit him with?
A hammer.
A hammer?
Yes.
Okay.
And I basically killed him with it.
Meet Shelby Nealy, a seemingly ordinary guy with an extraordinary confession to the murder of his father-in-law, Richard Ivancic. But as the details unravel, it becomes clear that this is just the tip of the iceberg, and the story takes a horrifying turn when Shelby reveals the fate of his mother-in-law, Laura.
So where are you at when she comes in the front door?
Oh, I welcome her and everything, and then she's walking towards the kitchen, and then I get her before she sees anything coming.
So she never saw her husband laying there?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
As he calmly sips his coffee, he now talks about his third target, his brother-in-law, Nick.
Same thing, same hammer?
Yeah.
So the same hammer you used the same hammer to kill all three of them?
Yes.
You knew you f***ed them up the most, so I was assuming that you saw the damage.
No, because like blood went everywhere. And that was
as you're hitting them, blood's going everywhere.
Yeah, that was the first time that happened.
But even after all these shocking confessions, Shelby still had another disturbing secret that was about to send a shiver down the spine of the detectives. This bone-chilling story started off with a 911 call in January 2019, made by Richard's elder son, whose name we chose to keep private.
Good afternoon. I live in West Palm Beach, and I'm calling about a possible welfare check on my father. He lives in Tarpon Springs. I've been trying to reach him since just before Christmas, and without any luck. Him and his wife.
What's the name of the person we're going to be checking on?
Richard Ivancic, Ivancit, and his wife's name is Laura.
When police arrived at the address, a foul odor greeted them. Inside the house, they discovered the bodies of 71-year-old Richard Ivancic, 59-year-old Laura Ivancic, and 25-year-old Nick Ivancic, all in an advanced state of decomposition.
How you doing, Shelby? Detective Anderson, have a seat. Cold? Yeah, some coffee. I heard you wanted some coffee, so we got you some coffee.
I appreciate it.
Right. I understand you wanted to talk to me?
Yeah, well, I thought we were going to get this done in the morning and everything. I didn't know.
Would you prefer to talk in the morning? I'm here to, I want to talk to you as soon as possible. I came a long way to talk to you.
Yeah, how late are you here till in the morning?
Well, I'd rather do it now. I mean, I traveled a long way in a short amount of time.
I know, man.
Okay, all right.
I apologize.
That's okay. Hey, like I said, I'm here to listen to you. Okay. Where do you want to start?
Well, we're not going bullshit. We know why you're here. It's for the 3 deaths and everything.
Okay.
Correct? Okay, well, obviously I did it. I'm trying to think of where to begin this long story.
You want me to ask you a question to get you started?
I mean...
Or do you want to just think about it and you can start wherever you want?
I mean... The story kind of like... Because I know your questions are basically like, why the f*** did this happen, for obvious reasons. I mean... You know what, why don't you start with questions and I'll just make my way into the story in a second. So
Okay. Well, I want to start way back.
Way back?
Childhood. How was your childhood?
Oh, we want to go there. You know, it was a good, man.
Mom and dad both there? Single mom, single dad?
My birth father, he was in Texas my whole childhood.
So your dad passes away.
Yes.
And then you're with your mom and your stepdad?
Yes.
Okay. How was it growing up? I mean, good?
I mean...
You said it was relatively good childhood?
Yeah, childhood was good. I didn't run into problems until literally my early adult life. Like, literally as soon as I turned 18.
So when you were a kid, how were you disciplined? There was no, like, physical abuse, mental abuse?
No. I mean, I would get disciplined like any other kid. I was bad,
Well, everybody has different...
Get ground from my stuff, get my stuff taken away, but, I wasn't the easiest of children to deal with either,
Like, getting into mischief, or?
Yeah, I was very mischievous and rebellious growing up. I also got prescribed ADHD. I just think the rebellion came from, like, strict rules and everything, like a normal child.
Right. You just didn't like the rules?
Yeah. So I would just break them and everything.
Well, kids go through that.
Yeah. My I don't know if I'm psychotic or not, but my psychosis didn't really start taking effect till I was like starting to go through stuff.
Okay, and how did you meet Jamie?
I was a manager at Burger King by this point. Her brother was my employee.
And where is this at? What city and state?
This is Ohio. This is actually up here.
Okay.
Before we all moved down here. Parma,
Okay.
Ohio.
What city in Ohio?
Parma.
Parma, okay.
Mm-hmm. I went home with him one night and to smoke weed, and she was just sitting there in the garage, and we just sort of just hit it off from there.
Okay.
And I started dating her and living with her, and that's when shit really started getting bad. Everything was cool at first. Occasionally we would argue, and she would smack me here and there. And I was like, it's whatever, it's a woman, they lose control of their emotions. And by this point, of course, this is after the whole domestic violence, but I'm really not trying to hit a woman and all that. So, unfortunately, their daughter was very, how do I put it, disrespectful towards rules when living under... Can I get some water? I'm sorry.
Sure.
As he casually insults every single woman on earth, Shelby sips his coffee and quenches his thirst with a glass of water before revealing a disturbing story.
How do you think you're doing as a dad?
We'll get into this incident, but there was an incident down in Florida where she had an extreme case of psychosis, and I'm sure you can look up all her records and stuff. I'm sure you've seen that she's attacked her parents in the past and all that good shit.
Mm-hmm.
She would get into a mode that she just could not control. When I tell you, it would literally be like looking into the eyes of a demon. It literally was. So she came at my daughter with a knife after she had got done severely beating me. And there are scars on my body and shit, And I'm not giving myself an excuse, man. I'm just telling you the reason as to why shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come at my daughter with a knife, I have to stop you.
Right.
And unfortunately, I went too far. I choked her out, and then when the blood started coming out of her nose, I stopped. But
it was too late.
It was too late.
And where was that at?
This was at a house. This was the last house that we had down in Florida, and this was about a year ago.
So she's been deceased for a year?
Yes.
Where is she now?
I buried her in that backyard.
She's in the backyard of that home?
Yes.
Jamie, who was initially believed to be missing, had actually been dead for a year. This meant Shelby had managed to avoid capture from January 2018 to January 2019.
Did anybody ever ask you where she was?
Oh yeah, I lied.
Well, I obviously you're gonna lie if, something like that has happened, but I'm like, who asks you where she is? Doesn't Nick go, hey, where's my sister? Or her parents call you, or...
Well, yeah, and thankfully I knew her so well, I knew how to act like her. It was weird, man, they never talked to her over the phone or anything. I would just act like her. I was on text message and everything, sometimes I would act angry at the parents and all this stuff, but, I would just feel bad, so I would, send them pictures and everything of the kids, because, they were persistent.
Now, when you say she was the psychosis that you described, was she seeing a doctor or a psychologist?
She refused to.
Refused to? Was she on any meds?
She refused to be on any meds.
So
she thought that she didn't need any help.
During the duration that you knew her, she never went to a doctor that you know of for her mental issues?
We tried to get her there, but she just did not like what the doctors had to say. And so she'd be like, I'm not going there anymore.
Okay.
It was, every day my kids saw a woman beating on their dad, and I just didn't want that.
Shelby could have concealed the fact that he pretended to be Jamie, but he chose to reveal it. This suggests a sense of pride and further underscores his psychopathic tendencies. Moreover, his calm demeanor suggests he still believes he was justified in his actions and is trying to play the victim card. Also, it's quite shocking that Jamie's family never attempted to check on her, despite not receiving any response from her for an entire year.
I kept putting it off. They were enjoying time with their grandkids, and
At what point in time did you decide I have to kill them? Was it when you were driving there?
No. I fought with it literally up until I did it.
Okay, so when was your first thought of, I need to kill them?
Oh, it was definitely on my way there.
While you're driving there,
Yeah.
you're thinking to myself, I need to kill them.
Yeah, if I'm going to survive and raise these kids and not get caught. And then I get there.
Because they pose a threat to what you believe was a threat to your custody of your children. And do you remember what the date was?
December 15th and December 16th.
December 15th and December 16th is when you killed them?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember?
The
Okay.
parents, go ahead with your
No, I don't want to stop you. Go ahead.
question.
Said the parents.
The parents passed away first, and then I dragged their bodies into their room, cleaned it up, waited for Nick to get home, spent one last night with Nick, and then when he went to bed, I killed him too.
It's quite weird to know that Nick didn't even question the whereabouts of his parents for a complete day. But currently focusing on Shelby, he confessed to the murders of his in-laws as if it were nothing. He admitted to waiting for the perfect moment, constantly thinking about killing them, all while remaining as calm as a summer sea. His demeanor won't change, but the details he's trying to reveal will only grow more horrifying.
What did you hit him with?
A hammer.
A hammer?
Yes.
Okay.
And I basically killed him with it.
Okay. So when you say, where's the first place you struck him with the hammer?
In the back of the head.
Back of the head, like right in the middle of the back of the head?
Yeah.
You just came up behind him and
Yeah.
hit him? Does he fall?
Yes, he
Just
falls.
falls to his knees, or
No, he's unconscious. And then,
one shot, he's out?
Well, he's
Unconscious.
unconscious, yeah.
Okay.
And then I whack him again a couple of times on the head to give him a quick death.
Do you remember where on the head?
No, because if I'm being honest with you, I wasn't trying to commit the act in the first place, so I'm not really trying to look. I know I definitely got him right here, but all I really did was bash him a couple of times and then walk away.
Okay.
And then he passed away.
Did you hear him still breathing, or?
When I did, I would go over there and whack him just to try to get him to be done, because I didn't want him to suffer anymore.
So after you hit him the first couple times, you walk away,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't want to put words in your mouth. You hear him, so you go back and you hit him a couple more times?
Yes.
Okay. And how many times did you have to keep going back?
That was only one time that I had to go back.
Okay, so if you had to guesstimate how many times you struck him with a hammer, what would you think?
I would say 5 to 7 times.
5 to 7 times. And it's right in the area by where your kids' toys were at?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are Bella and Oliver at when this is happening?
They're in the room.
They're in the
Yeah.
bedroom you were staring at with the door closed?
Yes.
Okay. Did they come out?
No, they can't open doors or anything.
They can't open doors?
No.
Okay.
No, I had the room completely baby-proof for them, so they were safe.
Shelby claimed his kids were safe, but safe from whom? Their innocent grandparents, or the monster of a father who was savagely bashing a man's head just outside their door. Regardless, it was now time to hear the details of Laura's murder.
You greet her at the door.
Yeah, and then
She starts
walking towards the kitchen. Still
Okay.
doesn't notice her husband.
Okay.
And then I basically take her out before she can notice anything.
Okay. And where do you hit her?
Same place.
Back of the head?
Yes.
Okay. She drops immediately?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
So she's in the same room with her husband?
no, she's in a different room.
Okay, where?
She is in the living room, walking towards the kitchen.
Kitchen?
He's in the dining room.
Okay.
towards the left and everything. Like I said, I don't know how she did not see him when.
He killed both of them an hour apart, but rather than taking a moment to feel guilt or regret over his actions, he calmly and patiently waited to murder Laura. This clearly shows that while Shelby might not fit the textbook definition of a psychopath, he undeniably exhibits psychopathic tendencies. It would be fair to say he's at least on the borderline.
Okay, so they're both down.
Drag both of them.
Which one do you drag first?
Definitely Rich.
Rich, he's on the area rug.
Yeah.
So you tell me, you got to tell me how you did it, because he's a pretty big dude, and I'm not taking this offense. You're not near as big as he is.
Oh yeah,
that's gotta. You had to like busted your ass to get him back there.
God, did I ever?
Yeah. How long did it take you to get him from there down the hall and into the room?
Dude, honestly, only 5 minutes.
Probably your adrenaline through the roof, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be like, do you know when Nick's coming home, or is it like, oh shit, I got to get going. Nick could come home. I got to get them out of the way.
At that point, I didn't know when Nick was coming home. So you're right. Definitely adrenaline played a big part into it, I think, moving him. But yeah, I got him out of there in like 5 minutes. And then I moved her in there. And then I cleaned up all the blood with the mop and everything. And he didn't notice anything when he got home. I finally did get a hold of him.
Where was, and how did you get Laura into the bathroom?
There was another rug that was close to her. I threw a towel on her. Sorry, I'm fine. And then I put her on the rug, and then I dragged the rug.
Okay, but you brought Rich first.
Yes.
How did you get her past Rich? Because he was, from my recollection, he's laying on his back with the rug covering him in the doorway. You have to pass the doorway to get into the bathroom.
I'm sorry. I think I brought her in first.
Okay. That's why I'm asking these questions, because you could have done it, but I want to make sure we're right on the order, because for you to get her over the top of him would have been a pretty good feat.
Yeah.
So
no, that would not.
Now that you think about it, you're positive you drug her back first.
Yes, she got drugged back first.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay, so you get both of them on their area rugs into the room, close the door. You just chill with the kids until Nick comes home?
Yeah.
Okay. What time is
everything? It's like 6 or 7.
After committing 2 horrific murders, Shelby calmly waited for Nick to arrive. What he did next was nothing short of pure barbarity. It will soon be revealed what exactly happened to the dogs, but first comes the disturbing details of how Shelby killed his brother-in-law, Nicholas Ivancic.
So you're watching TV, he falls asleep.
Yeah.
Where are you at when he falls asleep on that couch with all the blood stains, but it's at that point in time.
Here's how it happened. We're watching The Grinch and everything. He gets tired. He goes to sleep. I put the kids in the room. I wait until I think he's asleep. I fall asleep myself. And then I wake up at like 3, 4 in the morning. And then I grab the hammer. I tiptoe to him. And then I do what I did to them. You know, I don't like saying it, but I do what I did to them.
Same thing, same hammer?
Yeah.
So the same hammer, you used the same hammer to kill all 3 of them?
Yes.
So he's asleep. I know it's hard to say, but we're almost there. You've gotten through 2.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
I know.
So you go up to Nick, and then what happens?
I crack him right here.
In the temple?
Yeah, and then I just keep hitting, like 7 to 8 times.
Is it any time does he wake up, or?
He like jolted awake at first, I think, but his body was in too much shock to like really process what happened.
Right, like he never like opened his eyes or said anything or anything like that.
No, none of that ever happened. I made sure that except with him, unfortunately, I made sure that they didn't feel any pain. They basically died instantaneously.
Okay.
Besides him.
So you kill him on the couch. Okay. Then what do you do with his body?
I take it into his room.
Did you put him on anything, or do you just drag him?
I covered up his head and everything. Granted, I did it in the dark, and for some reason I knew that I'd hit him up the most out of everybody, and I don't know how.
And how did you know that? Just from the facial damage that you saw?
I didn't see any facial damage.
You said you knew you f***ed him up the most, so I was assuming that you saw the damage.
No, because like blood like went everywhere, and that was
as you're hitting him, blood's going everywhere.
Yeah, that was the first time that happened. So.
Okay. So when you hit the other two, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't a splatter rate.
Is unlike most. Shelby isn't holding anything back, nor is he trying to justify his actions. But what makes it truly unsettling is his complete lack of empathy, as he describes everything in chilling detail. Or has he?
Trust me, my kids are my number one priority.
I believe you wholeheartedly. For someone to do something of this extent to protect their kids, I'm not saying it's right. And I know you know it's not right? You know right from wrong, right? You know what you did was wrong. But at the time, I think maybe you thought you didn't have any other options, right?
Exactly.
You were pretty much out of gas, right? Out of options.
Yeah, I'm sure you're probably very surprised with my cooperation too.
I've been doing this a long time, and
not really.
You never know. Fast forward just a little bit, and I know you'll tell me because you're being completely cooperative. I know you went to the Home Depot in Port Richey, and you bought the tarps and the rope.
Oh yeah.
And
that was basically to put their bodies in, tie up, and put in the backyard or the front.
Where you were digging the trench.
Yeah.
Okay. What day did you start digging the trench? If you killed them on the 15th and 16th, what day do you think it was you started digging the trench?
I would say a week later.
A week later?
Yeah. I'd definitely say a week later.
So you're staying in the house with them deceased and with your kids from the 15th and 16th until approximately a week later.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming it's got to start smelling by then?
Well, yeah, I watched it to help with the smell too. Incense was always going on. I had those Febreze things. I had like car shit. Kids were no longer sleeping in their room. They were like sleeping out there.
On those little love seats?
Yeah. There was another couch too, that dark brown couch.
Mm-hmm.
That they would sleep on too.
Okay.
But yeah, they couldn't get buried. I couldn't move Rich.
So you start digging the trench. I mean, you made a lot of progress on that trench.
Yeah.
I mean, how many hours do you think you worked on that? Because that's a lot of work.
It only took me like 2 hours.
2 hours to dig that, and it's the shovel.
That was me being paranoid.
That was you on adrenaline and bang, and I got to get this done. I got to get these people buried, and I got to get out of here.
No, that was me going like, these people are definitely going to get sketched out here pretty soon by me digging this hole.
Right.
So I would go out and dig it little bits at a time.
At what point do you kill the dogs? You said it was like right before you left the house.
So, the dog that was by the woman, or by Laura, he died on his own, basically.
Starving?
No, he had diabetes, and I didn't know how to
do the
administer that stuff.
Okay,
so,
is that one of the ones because there was one dog in a garbage bag, another dog in a garbage bag, and there was one in a rug.
This is the one on the rug.
The one in the rug died on his own because you didn't give him his insulin.
Well, he didn't die he was dying.
Okay.
And then I put him out of his misery.
How did you do that?
I just whacked him once with the side of the hammer, and he instantly died.
Okay.
I knew that he would die instantly, being that he was a small breed and everything.
Okay.
As far as the other dogs go, they got put in the bag the last night, and they suffocated and everything.
Okay, so you didn't hit them with the hammer, you just tied the bag shut and suffocated them. Okay. Because I examined the dogs, I mean, I couldn't see any obvious damage. So that was one of my theories, was that they suffocated. The only thing was, the bags are dark, and I would assume the dog would have tried to scratch their way out, but I guess they didn't. Or I just didn't notice it.
Yeah.
Shelby killed 4 people he once loved and 3 defenseless dogs, claiming it was all for the right reasons. Shelby Nealy's mother was granted custody of the children, while Shelby himself pleaded guilty to all charges on December 13th, 2023. It's surprising that someone who confessed so calmly took 5 years to admit guilt officially. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison for killing Jamie, avoiding the death penalty by assisting officers in locating her body and cooperating throughout the investigation. For the murders of the Ivancic family, a judge scheduled the penalty phase for October 2024. During this phase, a jury will decide whether Shelby would face the death penalty or life in prison without parole for the triple homicide.
You don't coke or anything, drink? No, sir, I'm afraid to go home.
This is 17-year-old Brandon Aydelott, a teenager whose crime shocked even the most seasoned detectives. And it all started with this 911 call.
San Res 911, you need police?
Somebody's hurt really bad, though. I need somebody to get here as fast as they can get here, please.
Do you see any weapons there?
There's a knife. Look at her hand.
There's a knife in her hand?
Yes.
It was 7 p.m. on Christmas Eve of 2013 when Randall Aydelott had just arrived from a last-minute Christmas shopping spree. He was about to enter the living room when he discovered the body of his wife, 48-year-old Sharon Hill, lying in a pool of blood. His wife's face had been stabbed with several knives, leaving it unrecognizable. And the person who brought such an atrocity was someone unexpected.
Why are you here? Because I killed Sharon Hill.
You killed it?
Sharon Hill.
Yes.
Mine.
Even detectives who were accustomed to the dark side of humanity were taken aback by Brandon's chilling confession. But detectives wondered why a calm and composed teenager would kill his mother with such inhumane brutality. Is this even an act of a sane mind? They were yet to find out whether he has a distorted psyche or this teenager is an embodiment of pure evil.
Alright. Well, with this detective tool, she's one lead investigator in this. I'll let her start off and see where we need to go. Alright, that's right.
It's Brandon, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay if I call you that?
Yes, ma'am.
Brandon, we're here investigating a criminal investigation that you're involved in.
Yes, ma'am.
We'd like to talk to you a little bit. I'm not sure if you've talked to anyone else since they got you at your dad's house or not, but I'd like to talk to you a little bit if you don't mind.
Alright, yes, ma'am.
First of all, how are you doing?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Do you know why you're here?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you here?
Because I killed Sharon Hill.
You killed it?
Sharon Hill.
Sharon Hill?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mine.
The detectives just brought him to the interrogation room and were sitting down, hoping to hear a lot from Brandon, who, without giving them any room to play around with questions, immediately owned up to his crime. And the reason behind his acts would be much more baffling than the detectives expected.
Yeah, tell what led up to it. I mean, what happened? She sent me to drug rehab when I had no drugs in my system. And she kept on getting mad at me every time I would tell her I didn't have any drugs in my system. And she just drove me to the brink where I said, I really don't have any drugs in my system. I just completely lost it one day.
What day was that?
Today.
Tell me what happened. I mean, tell me about your afternoon.
I woke up, hung out around the house. I went over there to have dinner, and she just looked at me like I was crazy. And I had enough of it, so I decided to kill her.
You live with your dad, right?
Yes, sir.
Where does he live at?
Behind Circle K.
Is that where the police found you tonight?
Yes, sir.
You went over to your mom. Did y'all start arguing about the drugs again, or tell me what happened?
No, sir. I just went in there and I killed her.
Brandon's words revealed a deep-seated hatred toward his mother, and the roots of it started months ago. Sharon had caught Brandon using drugs like marijuana, As any concerned mother would, she was deeply worried about her son as he spiraled deeper into this destructive behavior of drug use. To stop him from going further down this path, she sent him to rehab, where he began to receive treatment and might have even recovered. However, his father, Randall, pulled him out of the facility. According to him, his son was completely fine and suffered no issues of possible drug abuse. It was then that Brandon began resenting his mother.
What'd you kill her with?
A knife and a baseball bat.
Where'd you get the baseball bat?
Out of my room.
At your mom's house, your dad's house.
My mom.
Where's the bat now?
It's in my car.
And the car was being selected.
Yes, sir.
How many times did you hear with a bat?
A lot.
Where'd you get the knives from?
The kitchen drawers.
How many knives?
A lot.
Got any idea how many times you stabbed her?
No, sir. Just stabbed her.
What made you go over there? And did she call you and invite you over to come have dinner? Or?
I was invited earlier that day by my sister.
But the sister wasn't home there, right?
No, sir. She came over to my dad's house.
Is that your biological sister? Stepsister?
That's my biological sister.
How old is she?
10.
Brandon's subtle smirk hinted at a chilling lack of remorse for his actions. What was truly incomprehensible, however, was the pride with which he recounted the brutal killing of his mother. This leaves us with a haunting question. How could a bright, promising teenager descend into such heinous acts? The answer would soon leave the detectives deeply disturbed.
You go to your mom's house, I mean, is this something that you sit down and hang out a while, or as soon as you get there?
It just happened immediately when I got there.
What happened right when you pulled in?
I got out of my car, walked up to the door, and knocked on it. She shut the door, and I stabbed her.
Did you go inside the house?
Yes, ma'am.
And then she shut the door?
Yes, ma'am.
You take the bat out of the car when you got there?
The bat was already in the room.
Okay, then the room at your mom's house, not your dad.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Did you say anything to her? I mean, did y'all talk at all before this happened?
No, ma'am.
Is that the only, I mean, what kind of issues have you and Mom had other than that?
That was the only one.
Okay. After you stabbed her and left the house, where'd you go?
Winn-Dixie.
With different people.
And I hung out there for a little bit.
Talk to anybody there?
No, sir. And then I went back to the house. And the cops showed up, and then I went outside.
Did you change clothes when you got home?
Yes, sir.
Where are the clothes at that you wearing when you stabbed your mom?
I threw them in the dirty clothes basket.
At your dad's house?
At my dad's house, yes.
When Sharon was busy preparing Christmas presents, she heard a knock at the door. She was expecting Brandon, who had been invited for the family Christmas dinner. Little did she know that the boy she gave birth to would become the reason for her own death. The moment Brandon stepped inside, he stabbed his mother in the back with a knife. As she collapsed, he slashed her throat and then went further by grabbing a baseball bat from inside the house. He struck her repeatedly with the bat before returning to the kitchen to collect more knives. This detail reflects the vicious nature of Brandon and his desensitized outlook towards violence. This was a behavior that stems from his substance abuse, which ironically was Sharon's greatest worries.
Did you take any of the knives with you when you left your mom?
Yes, sir. I took only one.
Where is it now?
It's at my dad's house.
Where at Dad?
Behind all the other knives and spoons and everything and all in the tray.
The kitchen drawer?
Yes, sir.
Much to the detective's horror, Brandon's confession was, in fact, true, with Sharon's body being found with a knife barbarically left protruding from her right eye socket. During the autopsy, it was revealed that another small knife had been shoved into the same eye socket, deep enough to lodge inside her skull. As if that wasn't enough, Brandon stomped on her face multiple times, disfiguring her even further. The blood tainted all the presents that were carefully placed under the tree, leaving a grim reminder of the tragedy that had ensued. Doesn't this remind you of Art the Clown from Terrifier again? Only this time, the terror was not on a screen. It was all too real.
How do you feel about what happened?
Like I did the right thing.
Was
Yes, ma'am.
it? I mean, why do you think you did the right thing?
Because she was saying that I was smoking or I wasn't.
Have you talked to anybody else about this? You called a friend? Anybody?
Me and my dad was involved.
How was that?
It didn't go well. My aunt was involved. My aunt's friend was involved. My sister was even involved.
Involved in what?
Like whenever I had to take a drug test and I passed it and then I went to the real one. No, I mean I failed the first one. Then I went to the real one and I passed it and they still checked me into a drug rehab facility.
Okay. And you're saying your aunt, your sister, and your dad were involved in checking you into that facility?
That was all my mom's idea.
When you got back to your dad's house, did you take a shower?
Yes, sir, I did.
What do you think should happen now?
I think that Elena Rivera should be kicked off the throne.
Who's that?
This girl that's in charge of smoking. She's Native American.
She's in charge of all of them?
Yeah.
Like in the whole world, or?
Yeah. She don't even smoke.
Detectives struggled to determine whether Brandon was purely evil or deeply unstable mentally. The disturbing details he shared and his unnervingly calm demeanor raised serious concerns regarding his state of being. Witnessing a son kill his mother with such extreme violence and justify it as being right was utterly shocking. At this point, detectives began to seriously consider the possibility that Brandon's actions might have stemmed from a disturbed, psychotic mindset.
You don't coke or anything to drink?
No, sir, I'm ready to go home.
All right, give us just a few minutes and we'll try to get you out here, okay?
All right.
And those were Brandon's last words, which are as eerie as they are unsettling. What could a teenager like him have actually been doing? Well, the answer was found much later. A social worker had visited Brandon in jail, to whom he spoke of someone named Braxton Strange, a figure he described as the ruler of Navarro. According to Brandon, Braxton was not just a person, he was a god. And this god had given Brandon a mission to fulfill a prophecy. This so-called prophecy was the reason Brandon claimed he killed his mother. In his mind, the act would immortalize her, allowing her to spend eternity with her ex-husband, Randall. But the prophecy didn't end there. Randall was meant to be the next victim on Brandon's list. When the police followed up on his story and searched for the so-called ruler of Navarro, Braxton Strange, they found nothing. No one by that name. No mysterious figure pulling the strings. Just another twisted fantasy. This delusion was later debunked by psychiatrists who were in charge of treating Brandon. They confirmed that he was suffering from schizophrenia, a disorder that likely fueled his disturbing beliefs and actions. In 2016, Brandon Aydelott was tried in a one-day bench trial before Circuit Judge John F. Simon. Psychiatrist Dr. Robert Scott Benson testified that Brandon's schizophrenia led him to believe he was justified in killing his mother. The defense argued that Brandon was not guilty by reason of insanity, or NGRI, as his mental illness prevented him from understanding the wrongfulness of his actions.
Mr. Aydelott, the state attorney has filed what's called a direct information. Do you understand that? All right.
It was a one and done for Brandon Aydelott in the juvenile justice system. As expected, Circuit Court Judge John Simon tells the 17-year-old accused of second-degree murder he will go on trial for his life as an adult. Public Defender Bruce Miller says he has not yet assigned Aydelott's defense attorney, and it'd be premature to talk strategy for defending the young man accused of viciously murdering his mother, Sharon.
It's so early in the process that we ourselves have many questions, and we're going to do our own investigation. He is still a child in Florida and being prosecuted as an adult, so we will take that into consideration and try to keep his best interest.
And what do you mean by keeping his best interest?
Look under every stone, try to do everything we can to help.
Miller's team could have to go up against first-degree murder charges, as the state attorney's office says it has ample evidence and a confession of the crime.
Judge Simon agreed with the defense and ordered Brandon to be involuntarily committed to Florida State Hospital, a secure mental health facility. Brandon would undergo regular evaluations to assess whether his mental health had improved enough for him to no longer pose a danger to society.
Within the next several weeks, we will present this case to the grand jury. The grand jury is the only body that can actually charge first-degree murder. They will consider it. If they determine the facts are sufficient to establish that it was a premeditated murder, then they will return an indictment for first-degree murder.
In a recent court ruling on August 15, 2024, Pam Hill, Sharon's sister, testified something profound that explains the impact Brandon Aydelott had on the family after he committed the crime.
My sister, and so I went to the state attorney's office and talked to them, and I love him, that boy, and I looked at it as my nephew. A lot of this sounds, in theory, like we have a plan. He killed my sister when his life was charmed. What do you talk about to the person that killed your sister? He is dangerous, and he has told me he's not through killing my family. It took 3 years to establish competency, which my understanding is that's a very low bar. He had mentioned people with brown eyes weren't on his side, only blue-eyed people were. And I asked him, I said, well, I've got a brown eye and a green eye, Brandon. And he said, well, I just don't know what I'd do with you. It's no secret, I've never wanted him to get out of the incarceration or the admission. I realize he's a patient at Florida State Hospital. I never wanted him out.
Brandon was confirmed to be held in the Santa Rosa County Jail. The court ruled that he would be transferred back to Florida State Hospital, where he will remain in the custody and care of the Department of Children and Families until a bed becomes available for him at the Appalachia Center.
And he was still saying something, and I picked up in there, and the blood was dripping. It got all over my face. So I don't know, and something just from drip, like it took a drink of water from water. And you drink what? His blood.
The details of this crime are darker than your worst nightmares.
There's one side of my head telling me you did it wrong, you did it wrong, but at the same time, go ahead, keep doing it. They telling me, kill him again, keep this up, keep doing it. Kill it.
What followed was a murder so brutal, so utterly monstrous, that even the U.S. Supreme Court turned a deaf ear to Pablo's pleas, not just once, but twice.
This morning, the U.S. Supreme Court was asked to block the scheduled execution of Pablo Vasquez. He's the man who killed 12-year-old David Cardenas.
David Cardenas was just a 12-year-old child on the night of April 18, 1998, when Pablo Lucio Vasquez snatched his life away.
I don't know if they're back there, and blacked out. I started hearing voices in my head, and I told my cousin that somebody told me to kill him.
But this wasn't just a confession. It was the haunting revelation of a man who almost became a vampire. In this spine-chilling interrogation, watch as detectives uncovered the disturbing crime details of the murder of David Cardenas while unmasking a monster in disguise. But to grasp the full horror, it's important to first look back at April 18, 1998, and unravel the events leading up to this crime. On the evening of April 18th, David was last seen at a neighborhood party. When he didn't come home, his family's worry quickly turned to dread. Then, on April 19th, 1998, an anonymous tip shook Hidalgo County. This anonymous tip mentioned that a 12-year-old boy named David Cardenas had been murdered at that very party. What exactly happened on April 18th was shrouded in mystery. The investigation began with more questions than answers, but detectives were able to identify 15-year-old Andres Chapa as a suspect. Police also found out something interesting. Andres, also known as Andy, was actually David's friend and the one who invited him to the party. Through his testimony, detectives were able to find David's body 4 days after the incident on April 22, 1998. What the detectives found while discovering David's body left them in sheer shock. The autopsy report exposed the chilling details of the murder. A deep wound at the top of the head, a slashed throat, one arm completely severed, another partially detached, skin torn from the boy's back, several brutal facial wounds, likely from a heavy tool. Each finding painted a picture more disturbing than the last. Detectives now faced the pressing question: what could drive someone to commit such a savage attack on a 12-year-old? Eager for answers, detectives pressed Andy, who quickly confessed and named his accomplice, 20-year-old Pablo Lucio Vasquez. The hunt led them over 325 miles away to Conroe, a Houston suburb, where they finally made the arrest. Once arrested, Pablo wastes no time confessing. But this isn't just an ordinary admission. It is far more disturbing than anything the detectives had expected.
Okay, Pablo, can you tell us what occurred? I want you to start since Friday. Friday the 17th. Me, Andy, and David were going to a party. We were looking for and we got invited to that party. So first we had our dog, we walked in the dog, and then we got there, and so they asked us if we could come back. So we did, we took the dog home and came back. And when we were there, they asked us where's it, so we started drinking there. We stayed there for at least 2 or 3 hours until it was over. What time did you get there? Like 9. First it was early in the daytime, it was day stick. And then we got back and took off. I came back. And me and Andy and David came back and they said we wanted to drink, so I got a beer that I was drinking. The beer finished, so they passed a bottle of liquor, and I was drinking liquor. And I remember by the time I was really buzzing. What type of liquor? I don't know if it was Presidente. Because it was strong, they poured a lot into mine. And I was really feeling drunk. So somebody smoked there, so I started smoking some too. And I did bust it in there too. You did what? Coke. I did some. Because, yeah, I was really loaded. We decided, because the party was finishing, somebody gives a right.
David was just 12 when he was invited to the party, where Pablo and Andy were openly smoking, consuming hard drugs, and drinking alcohol. It's possible that David, too, was pulled into the mix, as he was an easy and vulnerable target. Andy, also underage, was part of the reckless scene. But Detective Ricardo Suarez soon discovers that things took a dark turn as the three left the party that night.
What time did you guys go home?
It was about 12. It wasn't really like going to be Saturday morning that night. It wasn't the daytime. I didn't know where that little guy was going to go. And he took off. What little guy? David. I don't know where he going to do, so he followed us. He went with us. They gave us the right to the house. And me and Andy were there. And he went to the back. I went inside. And I came to the back. And I told Andy, what's up with the plan? And he said, I don't know. He's rolling weed in the back. And I don't know if they're back there. I blacked out. I started hearing voices in my head. And I told my cousin that somebody told me
kill him. So I sneaked up on him, and he fell down.
What'd you hit him with?
The pipe.
Where'd you get the pipe at?
It was on the floor, like where he was at. And he looked at me at first, but then, and he looked at me too, and like, he just didn't have my finger or nothing.
Did Andy try to stop you before you hit him?
No. Well, he didn't say nothing. He just looked at it. Like he thought something was wrong, and so I stopped. And
Where'd you hit him at?
Somewhere.
What was he doing when you hit him behind the head?
He was looking at me. And then he said something, I don't know. And I like 3 or 4 times. And he was right there, and he was still alive.
When you hit him 3 or 4 times, where did you hit him at?
He was still alive. And they told me, you killed him. And I go, no, he's not dead, he's still alive. So I went inside, and Andy was getting everything, like, stuff ready, so I told him we were in the burn. And he said, yeah. And I got him, and we took him, and Andy had the shovel.
Okay, you went inside for what?
Huh?
What'd you go inside for?
I just went inside to go check inside, like, if anybody had heard anything.
Was anybody awake?
Yeah. And, like, nobody was awake. So we came back outside, and my cousin had a knife in his pocket.
Your cousin who?
Andy.
Okay.
And I saw him, and I got the knife, and I...
Pablo's disturbingly neutral expression as he recounts the brutal details of trying to kill David hint at something far darker than apathy. It actually reveals a chilling detachment from the horror of his actions. He sounds like he is narrating an everyday incident rather than a gruesome crime. He speaks as if he only observed the violence rather than committed it. This emotional disconnect suggests a distorted sense of self, where Pablo either cannot or maybe refuses to acknowledge the monstrous nature of his actions. But what he will confess after this is beyond comprehension.
And then he was still like, talking and stuff. When I picked him up, I just put him on my shoulder like that, and I carried him, and I threw him on the floor because he was too heavy, and I dragged him from my hand. I picked him up, I dragged him, and he was still saying something, and I picked up in the air, and the blood was dripping. He got all over my face. So I don't know, and something just from drip, like I took a drink of water from water, and
you drank what?
His blood. And I don't know, and my face was cleaner with his blood, and I put him down because I felt weird. I don't know. And then my cousin said he's still alive or something like that. And I took him across the road, like what was that name? In the area where they found him.
When Pablo describes drinking David's blood, there is a subtle yet unsettling excitement in his voice. This shift in demeanor, no matter how slight, speaks volumes about the nature of his psyche. It is a hallmark of psychopathy, a trait often seen in individuals who derive pleasure from revisiting their violent actions. For people like Pablo, reliving the moment of horror serves as a source of gratification. Psychopaths often lack empathy, but they compensate for that emotional void by seeking excitement through destructive means.
And he was saying something, and my cousin got the show, and like 5-6 times in the face. And all I knew was that, yeah, he was really.
When you hit him on the face, what was the guy saying? What was David saying?
He was saying something, I don't know, he was mumbling something.
Any words that you can remember?
He was just saying, oh, like, I don't know if he said dope or something, but he was saying something. But I heard his, I seen his blood gushing out everywhere, and I panicked, so I would just go put him back there. So we took him back there, and we started digging the hole. And the dirt was too hard, so we just dug a little tiny hole, and I put him there. And by the time I knew it, I was just finding stuff to cover him up with, and we covered him, and I put grass and pieces of wood on him. And by the time I realized, I took off his ring, but I lost it somewhere right there, and his chain was busted. I threw that away too. And from then on, we walked to Randy's house. And I took a shower, and my cousin got the clothes that was full of blood. Cause I was wearing.
Your cousin who?
Andy.
Okay.
He got the boxers that I was wearing were covered with blood, and he told his mom that he was quitting or something like that. And
his mom was awake?
No, she wasn't. In the morning, they asked us, "Well, why are you doing so late? Coming home so late?" So we were drunk, and she asked us that the next morning, and the next morning I woke up. I realized that I had done something bad, and my phone got through. I just wanted to get out of it, and I waited all day there, just thinking about what I had done. But I wanted to do too, because I told my cousin Andy, I looked at him and I feel like so because I did something wrong. And he looked at me and he goes, "Oh no, don't do that." And after that, I told him I want to leave. I want to leave because they find out they're going to kill me no matter what. That's they serious. And my cousin goes, "No, because no, don't go and all this shit." And I told him, "I have to leave. We could have done it. I got both of us in trouble with worse than anything." And he said, "Yeah." So that day passed. The next night, that's when I saw my uncle and I had.
The next night being when?
Saturday was already Saturday morning. Then Saturday night, I told my uncle that I was leaving because.
Your uncle who?
My uncle, Andy's dad, sure. And I told him that because I did something bad, and he goes, "Man, he got mad at me for doing that."
What exactly did you tell him?
That I had done something bad, that I had hurt some kid really bad.
And who'd you tell this to?
My uncle.
What's your uncle's name?
John.
John?
Yeah.
One?
Yeah.
So you told him Saturday night that you had done something bad?
Yeah. But then
Did you show him the chain?
Yeah, I showed him the chain. I said, "Look, this is what I took away from," but I threw it away at the same time. That same night I threw it. I don't remember because I was in the car. I threw it. I touched it.
You were in the car going?
Well, I stayed there until the next morning, right? And then I asked my uncle if I could go back to Houston. And he said, "Well, I don't want no trouble." And I was not. But I was just thinking, man, I tried to. Because everything that I did, they got back to me.
Though Pablo briefly mentions his desire to take his own life out of guilt, his voice and body language tell a different story. His confession is rushed, as if he's more eager to escape the interrogation than deal with any real remorse. This disconnect raises questions about the authenticity of his guilt. What's even more unsettling is the reaction of his family. While David's family was devastated after finding their son in that condition, Pablo's family tried to shield him after the crime he committed. Despite Pablo's admission to one of his uncles, no one in his family reported the murder. This complicity is as disturbing as the crime itself. This reaction points to a deeply ingrained dysfunction within the family dynamics. In this case, the family's silence becomes a form of complicity, deepening the disturbing nature of the crime itself. As the weight of the truth begins to surface, Pablo starts showing fleeting signs of remorse. But what he reveals next is worse than the most disturbing nightmare David's parents could have ever had.
And I'm sorry for killing that little guy, but if I had a chance to go back in time, I would never done it.
The autopsy says that someone, we don't know who, the piece of his back off. And there was a knife.
How did
it
wasn't me, probably I did it. But I don't think I did that. I think when we dragged him, because we dragged him on the cement, maybe the cement scraped his back.
No, there was a nice cut all the way across his back, like a knife, or like somebody took a knife to his back and cut it, like cut it off.
We were trying to cut off his head. They were trying to cut off the show. Kept hitting him and hitting him.
Who was?
Me and Andy, because we were trying just to take him.
What was your reason for trying to cut off his head?
The devil was telling me to take it away from him.
Who was?
The devil was telling me to take it away from him, to keep it, and it couldn't come off. I was just freaking out because I was hearing that.
And what about Andy? What was he hearing?
I don't know, he was just like, I don't know, he was just He was just like going with it too, I guess.
Did Andy blood?
No, he threw up. He saw me. I told him, if you were to do that, go to him. I told him, he was telling me to do it. And he just went along when we did it.
Have you gone back? Did you go back the next day on Saturday to go see him?
No, I didn't go back.
You never went back after that night?
Pablo confesses that even after repeatedly hitting David and slashing his throat, the boy was still clinging to life, and this revelation takes the horror to a new level. For any parent, the idea that their child suffered through such relentless brutality is unimaginable. Yet, Pablo explains it with the same detachment that marked his earlier confession, stating that he and Andres had to continue hitting David, this time on the face, to ensure he died faster. The coldness in his tone shows a shocking lack of empathy, almost as if David's resilience was a mere inconvenience rather than the desperate fight for survival of a terrified child. It is clear for the detectives to see that there is something extremely wrong with Pablo. As they push him more, Pablo confesses to something very intense about himself.
Have you ever felt like that before?
Yeah, when I was in California.
How long ago was this?
Before I came from California.
How long ago was this?
From like 2 days before Christmas. But I got here on New Year's. I was on the bus right here on Christmas. And I was here on New Year's Day.
Had you been drinking when you felt that? When you heard that the first time in December?
So I was on. There was some other drug that they have out there called.
Where is this, in California?
Yeah.
And
I got addicted to that, and actually like addicted, but I stayed up for 2 whole weeks without sleep, and I was dressed in black, and it was the middle of the night, and I tried to talk with you, and I tied a rope on it, and I put a rope on my neck, and my uncle was calling me, and I told him that I couldn't get down because somebody told me to jump, and if I jumped, the rope was going to take me.
What's your uncle's name?
My uncle, Guero.
What's his name?
I don't know his full name, but...
Where's this at?
California.
What part of California?
Tulare County, Visalia.
Is that where he lives at, in Visalia?
Yeah. But he was figuring out of me too, but he had to come up the tree and get me done. Because the whole people...
Did he call the police?
He just told me, man, he was not too... He was talking me out of it. He talked me out of it. And he talked to him, and I started listening to him.
Pablo's confession about his attempt to take his own life is a clear indicator that he was spiraling long before he committed the murder. This admission isn't just a passing comment, it signifies a deep internal struggle that has been left unchecked. His suicidal thoughts were a cry for help, a red flag signaling severe emotional and psychological distress. Ignoring or overlooking this distress meant that the underlying issues driving Pablo's violent tendencies were never addressed, which likely played a critical role in his ultimate outburst against a vulnerable 12-year-old boy. In fact, when detectives ask why he has been so forthcoming during the interrogation, his answer hints at the same underlying turmoil. His honesty stems from a place of unresolved guilt and desperation.
Why are you telling us the truth?
Because you guys want to know the truth, and I don't want to have that inside me all the time, because I know the truth, but I don't want to be like constantly thinking about it, because it's going to drive me crazy, and I end up killing myself.
Pablo Vasquez confessed to the murder following his arrest and was indicted on capital murder charges for David Cardenas' death and the theft of his jewelry. In March 1999, he was convicted and sentenced to death in Hidalgo County. After years of multiple appeals, Pablo was executed on April 6, 2016, at the age of 38. Andres, being a minor at the time, was also convicted but received a 35-year sentence. He became eligible for parole in 2015 but was denied, eventually receiving it in 2020.
Even earlier in the day, he had expressed remorse over the crime and was trying to figure out how exactly he would say that to the family.
In Pablo's final hour, both his and David's families were present. Justice, long awaited, was finally served.
Vasquez begins his statement. It says, "It's time." He says, "You got your justice," and apologizes to the victim's family. 6:10. His cousins say "I love you" against the glass and make hearts with their hands. 6:11. The lethal dose begins. 6:35. The lethal injection process is over.
What's going on, man?
I just wanted to refer to my murder that I did a long time ago.
Okay, a long time ago?
Yeah.
Or today?
A long time ago.
What is that?
I buried him in his house.
This is a long time ago, is what he's saying.
I'm just tired of covering it up already.
Try to cover it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm tired of living with my wife, sir.
The guilt?
Hell yeah.
On May 1st, 2023, New Mexico police received a phone call from a gas station in Roswell from Tony Peralta, who confessed to killing a person.
Sir, tell me exactly what happened.
Well, I killed somebody.
You killed somebody? What's your name, sir?
Tony Peralta.
In response to this call, detectives went to meet the caller behind this voice. His shocking confession was just the beginning of unraveling the truth behind the disappearance of an elderly man, a case that had faded into the shadows of dusty case records. Although Tony's straightforward confession might seem a bit bizarre, what drove him to confess was the guilt he was carrying.
I just wanted to refer to my murder that I did a long time ago.
Okay, a long time ago?
Yeah.
Detectives at this point didn't know what Tony meant by long time ago, but as he was arrested and taken into custody for questioning, the details of this case gets even more shocking.
Would you show me where it's at?
What?
If I took you, would you be willing to show me where it's at?
Do I have to get it right now?
Well, that way we know where the house is. Okay. I'll let you finish your thing.
Let's go.
Okay. You don't want to finish it? You're good there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
All right, just hang on, okay? Relax. No. Just a name call 911.
I did.
Little did anyone know that the confession of this caller would lead to the discovery of a horrifying incident that was concealed long back and leave the community shocked.
Well, it's off your shoulders now, man.
In the next few minutes, you will witness unbridled grief as it overtakes a man's years-old guilt, unraveling the secrets he had buried deep until there was no escape. However, this was just the beginning. What unfolded next was a series of events that finally unraveled the answers to many lingering questions.
Called us, but it's kind of mixed messages. You had handcuffs in here.
I killed somebody, dude, and I buried him.
Okay. Right here, are you making? Do you feel like you're able to leave if you wanted, or do you want to be here?
Hell yeah! I confessed to a murder.
Okay. How much are you ready to drink today?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah. When you find his body, dude, it'll make you feel better. It's at his house.
That'll make you feel better?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to live with this shame anymore.
Okay, I understand that. All right, well,
it's
my understanding you're willing to
Jesus.
Yeah. It's my understanding you're willing to take us to the house.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Did it happen at the house?
It did.
It did?
I was on meth really bad.
Okay.
And I killed him because he didn't give me no money. And I buried him in his house.
In his house. Do you remember his name?
His name was Bill.
His name was Bill.
Everybody talks about it all the time.
Okay. How long ago?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Too long. Too long, boss. Don't ever say. Don't kill nobody that you don't have to.
Detectives created the space Tony needed to unburden himself and release the weight of his guilt. However, their priority was to extract every possible detail from Tony to piece together the full story of what had transpired. So, the first thing that was decided was to ask him if he wanted to take them to the house where he buried some man named Bill, which he agreed on.
Alright, so we're gonna go get in the car. We'll drive you to it. You show me.
I'm hot though. Will he turn on the air conditioner? It's hot as fuck.
It's so hot in here. We're gonna go downstairs. We're gonna get in the car, and I'm gonna turn that AC up.
All right,
I hate it up here.
All right. We're going to go down to the right and down the stairs again, okay?
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Can you hop on mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move some things.
That's it, bro?
Okay.
Go ahead. After you. We're going on this side, okay? I'm not cool enough. Go ahead and see. Alright. Wherever.
It's right here. Next house.
This white one? This white one here?
Yeah. I buried him in that side place right here. I killed their dad. This place.
That
Here, hey, you see this side door right here?
Uh-huh.
I buried him right there.
Okay. Like in the little building?
Yes, sir.
Hang on.
Although Tony took a big step by confessing, this was only the beginning. What followed next was quite a twist in the story that detectives didn't see coming.
Tony.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, brother. We need some more details.
All right, what do you want?
To be able to prove it.
Okay.
So, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
What year do you think this was?
I don't remember.
How old do you think you were?
I don't remember.
What does the victim look like? Or what
I
did the
don't
victim
remember.
look like? What do you mean you don't remember?
I don't remember. I just know that I killed him.
Why do you know that?
Because I know that I killed him and I kept it a secret.
Okay. Why did you keep it a secret?
Because I didn't give a fuck.
How long have you been keeping it a secret for?
A long time.
Like how long?
Like 7 years maybe.
Yeah. You see how all your answers are I don't know? That's what we're having a hard time with.
Well, I said I did it.
Yeah. But we need a lot more detail than that in order to get the full picture of it, right? And if this person's dead in here and has been dead for a long time, they got a family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the family's probably missing them.
Okay.
They probably deserve answers on what happened, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to give them that?
I was high and I didn't give a fuck.
Okay. What were you high on?
Meth.
Meth? Smoke it or shoot it?
I shot it.
Shot it? How much did you use a day?
A lot.
A lot. Are you still using?
No, sir.
No.
That's probably why I'm confessing.
So what was the reason that you killed him?
I don't have a reason.
You didn't have a reason? So were you guys arguing?
No, I just felt stupid one day, I guess.
You just felt dumb? What was he doing when you killed him?
Being a good man.
Was he sitting, sleeping, standing, reading, watching TV?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? But you killed him in a tub?
No.
That's what you said earlier.
I didn't say that earlier.
What did you say?
I said I killed him, that was it.
No, you said in the bathroom in a tub. How'd you kill him?
I didn't say that.
How'd you kill him?
I said I killed him, that was it.
No, you didn't. You told me how earlier.
Well, he's right there.
Well, we're gotta go see if he's in there.
Okay.
But how'd you kill him?
I killed him.
How? Did you shoot him?
No.
Did you hit him with a bat?
I killed him.
How'd you kill him?
I don't remember.
Did you stab him?
I don't remember.
You did earlier.
I did earlier.
You're just repeating the things that I'm saying now. You see how I don't believe you? If I just came to you and I just said it all the time, I don't know, I don't remember, would you believe anything I'm saying? You said, hey sir, what's the law on this? And said, I don't know. You think you trust me? That's why I'm having a hard time trusting you.
I know, I said I killed the person that was in that house.
Yeah, we're gonna go try and find him.
Okay.
But I don't have the details on where he's at.
I told you where he was at.
Where's he at inside the house?
I don't know.
Huh?
What's crucial to understand here is the stark difference between contemplating a confession for years and finally confronting it. Tony was now facing the very truth he'd feared for so long. His repeated claim of, I don't remember, wasn't a lie, but rather a defense mechanism. A desperate attempt to bury the memory of the crime he committed years ago. Yet, with the detective's support, the walls began to crumble, and he slowly started to open up and gave the exact location of where he buried this man.
Where did you bury him?
On the side house right there.
Okay. What part?
The part right there?
Yeah, but what part of that room?
The left side.
The left side?
Yeah, if you pull the board up and dig them up.
Okay. On the left side of the building?
Yeah.
So that's towards the courthouse?
Yes.
While detectives finally uncovered the location where Tony had buried his victim, they could also now get the information of the owner of the house. The man Tony Peralta had killed was 69-year-old William Blodgett, but it was important to confirm if Tony's claim was even true. So, quite literally, they started digging for the truth. Officers then dug in the floorboards and brought out the remains of William's body. Along with the remains of the deceased, they also found a pair of shoes and what was left of his clothes.
Here's that, like the black tarp they put down to keep weeds from growing through. Oh, looks like a shoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's something else, isn't it? Is that a shoe? I think it is.
I think it's a shoe too.
The boat. And it's starting to pour out. Is there bones in it? Do you want Tizzy to come help you? That's weird, though.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. Or do you want to back up? Let's pull this out.
Let's
see what.
Let's see
See if
what
you
it
can get it with the shovel. Oh no, that's a shoe.
Yep, you can see. I think it is. There's the, like, I think it's the boot, and that's the bottom sole of it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can see they come right up right there. So we need to get that out, and that'll kind of determine a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, because that's the sole of it.
Yeah, yeah, that would go right there.
Grab it and pull and see if a foot falls out.
Okay.
This is getting very scientific. It's 7 years or more, I'm not going to lose anything. Hey, dude.
Oh, check that. Yep. Yep.
After it was confirmed that Tony was actually telling the truth this whole time, he was brought in for a final interrogation. It was here that his emotions overtook him, as it was brought to light his motivation for killing William.
Tell me what happened, man.
I killed somebody a long time ago.
Okay. Why? What happened?
I don't know, sir.
I've been told his name is Bill, but it's really William, right?
I don't know.
You were living with him at the time? Okay. Do you remember what happened? Why?
I just remember I just needed to confess. That was it.
Okay. How did you do it? Do you not remember, or you just don't want to say it?
I just don't want to talk anymore.
Well, it's off your shoulders now, man. You're welcome. You're welcome, no problem.
It was evident that Tony was still overwhelmed by his guilt, struggling to share the full story with detectives. Yet the detectives stayed steadfast and patient, allowing Tony the space to reveal all the critical details of the crime on his own.
So, my own curiosity is, I want to know. And, I can read the reports from back then, and that's why I said the wallet thing, because that's what we were told. I know he was an older guy. I know that you were living with him, right? And you guys were roommates. He owned the place, right?
I don't know.
But he allowed you to stay there, like you were kind of renting. Did you pay him money to live there, or?
I don't remember.
He just, okay, but you guys were living together. All right. So, what happened, man?
I don't know.
Do I look familiar to you?
Uh-uh.
No? You look real familiar to me. I feel like we've talked before. Maybe I've just seen you around town. Did you use a gun?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't you tell me why you decided to come forward?
Because my heart hurts.
Okay. It's been eating at you for a while?
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is probably a big hard decision you had to make. You've been thinking about it for a while?
Every day.
Yeah, I've never been in that position, but I can imagine how hard that decision was to step up and...
At least nobody doesn't have to worry anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine his family. You know, he was an older guy, but, you know, his family never knew what happened. And that's kind of where I stand, because I want to be able to tell them, you know, what happened. His son.
Tell them that he was a good man and I should have did what I did. You know?
Okay. Yeah, it was his son is the one that reported it to us back then about not being able to get a hold of his dad.
Why didn't anybody say anything after that? Why didn't everybody just let it slide?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Okay. The cops talked to you back then, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It might seem bizarre to see a man casually munching on snacks while discussing a murder he committed, but stress eating is a very common coping mechanism in high-pressure situations. For Tony, unburdening himself to the law was a weight he had avoided for years. With support and compassion from the detectives, Tony did manage to open up eventually.
Give me little details, Tony. What happened?
Do I have to speak or what?
No, you don't have to, man. I'm just talking to you. You don't have to tell me anything. You don't. You don't. I just want to know the story. I'm sure the family wants to know the story. You know, things...
He was always good to me, and I took his life for no reason. And I don't have an excuse.
What did you
A lot of people have an excuse. I don't have one.
What did you use to kill him?
I don't remember.
Do you remember if it was some type of weapon or your hands?
I don't remember. All I know is that I buried him and I shouldn't have.
One of the officers told me that you had said it was some type of sharp object. Maybe like a knife or a screwdriver or something.
I don't remember.
Okay. And again, you don't have to talk to me, but please don't lie, because there's no reason to lie anymore, right?
I killed him with a screwdriver.
Okay. And is that screwdriver around anywhere?
No.
Okay. Because I know it's been a long time.
Yeah.
You got family in town here?
Yeah. That's why I wanted to confess, for they don't, nothing happens to them. It was my fault for my sin, Nobody else should suffer except this.
Your parents still around?
No.
Okay.
Through Tony's confession and a parallel investigation, it was revealed that William Blodgett had been missing since December 23, 2008. His son, Greg Blodgett, had filed a missing person report on January 3, 2009, 10 days after William's disappearance. During the initial investigation, law enforcement uncovered that William had a tenant with whom he had reportedly argued, and had even issued an eviction notice against. Turns out this tenant was 38-year-old Tony Peralta, who was also interrogated about William's disappearance when the case was active. However, with no concrete evidence linking him to the crime, the case went cold, and Tony was eventually removed from the suspect list. The truth remained buried for 15 years until Tony called 911 and confessed. His admission not only solved the long-standing cold case, but also revealed chilling details about the crime. Tony confessed that he was under the influence of hard drugs when he killed William with a screwdriver and buried him in his own house. As a consequence of his confession, he was charged with first-degree murder after admitting to killing his landlord, William Blodgett, back in 2008. Peralta was sentenced to 15 years in prison for second-degree murder in 2023. In Mexico, where only about 2% of cases lead to convictions, Tony Peralta's case stood out. Unlike most, it wasn't solved by evidence alone, but by the weight of Tony's own guilt, a burden he could no longer carry.
Cleveland Police. How can I help you? I got a phone call from my ex-boyfriend that he just killed his whole family. I know he's walking right now, because when he FaceTimed me, he was walking. You know where he's walking towards? No. But he did tell me that he has a gun and he still has 2 bullets in it.
This chilling 911 call was shocking on its own, but it also served as a confirmation of several claims made just moments earlier by a man named Martin Munes to the Cleveland Police on January 13th, 2023.
I'm serious, I'm not crazy. And you could go to the address and verify. The address is 3719 Mac Court. But I want you to handcuff me first.
What began as a bizarre encounter to the police quickly unraveled into a chilling confession, one that revealed a series of victims, exposing not just a murderer, but a monster who took twisted pride in killing his own family. On the evening of January 13th, 2023, an ordinary-looking night in Ohio turned into a chilling scene of tragedy. 42-year-old Martin Munes took the lives of 4 family members in a shocking display of brutality. Martin Munes fatally shot 16-year-old Jaden Bays, his mother, Angelique Gonzalez, her father, Miguel Gonzalez, and Angelique's husband, Anthony Booth. Angelique's 8-year-old daughter survived the attack and was hospitalized. After the murders, Martin calmly flagged down a police car at 7:46 p.m. and confessed, showing no remorse for the horrific crime. Once law enforcement officials saw the crime scene, there was not a shred of doubt that every word Martin claimed were true, and they were left with no choice other than finding the entire truth behind this senseless and gruesome crime. Martin was swiftly taken into custody, leading to an interrogation that stunned seasoned detectives and uncovered his dark past and a disturbing family dynamic.
Well, I tried to kill my sister's whole family, but 2 of them got lucky and lived.
2 of them got lucky and lived?
The other 3 didn't. He raised me.
Angel, you said?
Yeah. He raised me. He used to beat out of me, you know, have me kneeling down on heater vents and digging holes, and he bought a snakeskin belt. I used to have to do push-ups, so he smacked me in the back of the head. He used to take toolboxes and slap me with it, throw bricks at me. So recently, I went into the room. I was looking for my niece, and I'm calling her name. I don't hear her, so I went into his room, and he's laying down. So he's in there. He got his hand in his pants. My niece pops her head from under the blanket. So I'm like, what are you doing? So I was playing with Daddy's phone.
From the start, Martin readily confessed. His carefree demeanor and words during the interrogation showed no sign of remorse or emotion about what he did.
No, I came upstairs to eat, and I asked my sister's dad, no, I'm lying. I asked Jaden, her son, I said, yo, where is the rest of the food at? He said, no, it's gone. I'm like, what you mean it's gone? I didn't even eat yet. So he was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So I said, okay, well, where's my sister at? So I asked my sister, I said, where's the food at? She said, I don't know. Why are you asking me? I said, okay. I said, yo, I didn't eat. We're gonna have a problem. Nobody said nothing. So, they had to go.
People who spend years in prison often face stigma and rejection, and Martin was no exception. Instead of support, his family pushed him away, treating him harshly because of his criminal history. Martin could have chosen to start a new life elsewhere, but instead, he took the most violent path, murdering his entire family and convincing himself it was justified because of the way they had treated him. But what he does next is quite bizarre, and very few detectives in their lifetime had experienced something similar.
All the way over to Clark Avenue, is that where you flagged down the police?
Yeah, I guess. I just want to see any cop, man, just so I could go back home. I don't belong on the streets. I don't. You got other people who belong on the streets. I don't. They should have never let me home.
So when you left the house from walking, did you like throw it in the garbage can, house, or just on the street?
I don't know. My mind was just focused on, I need to go home. I didn't care about where the gun was at. I didn't care about if they was looking for me, nothing. I just wanted to come back home.
Where's home?
The box. I don't want nothing else. So I'm guilty of it. You can write it down. I don't really care.
Can you at least describe the gun? What kind of gun was it?
I don't know, man. It used to kill people, dude. I didn't look at the details of the gun.
Where'd you get it?
That I don't know.
Was it just at the house?
I don't know.
Are you hungry? Do you want something?
No. I want to remember.
That's what I'm saying. Is if you're hungry, you need something to help you, you know?
Mr. Munes, are you on any medications at the current moment?
No. I'm normal, I guess.
It was tragically ironic to watch Martin call himself normal. He was someone who saw himself unfit for society and considered prison his true home. It's fascinating how he's eager to skip the formalities and just return to prison. But the real mystery was why he preferred prison over a normal life. Did killing those 4 people serve as his ticket back to the place he called home? Detectives were determined to get more clarity out of him, and it was a matter of time before he started revealing the disturbing details of the crime.
So, do you recall who all was in the house?
Well, I know I walked into my sister's room and I shot Tone first.
You say Tone?
Yeah, Anthony.
Is that the 16-year-old?
No, that's the black dude. I shot him first.
The boyfriend?
My sister's husband.
Okay.
And then my sister looked at me and put her hands up and I shot her. And then I walked out the room and my niece told me, how you doing? And I didn't want to shoot her. I didn't want her to die. So I didn't shoot her in the head. The boy I shot in the head. Then I went upstairs and I shot him in the face.
Who?
Angel. And then I came back downstairs and I walked back in my sister's room and I shot Tone again. And then I went next to my sister and I put a bullet in the back of her head.
Now, your niece, was she shot at all?
Yeah, I shot her, but I didn't want her to die.
Okay.
She's harmless, just... I wouldn't have killed her son either. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't want her to die. So I didn't shoot her in her face.
Okay.
The guy upstairs that died, he used to beat me as a kid. And he got away with it because nobody would listen to me when I used to ask for help. Nobody listened.
Who is he?
He raised me.
Angel, you said?
Yeah. He raised me. He used to beat out of me, you know, have me kneeling down on heater vents and digging holes, and he bought a snakeskin belt. I used to have to do push-ups, so he smacked me in the back of the head. He used to take toolboxes and slap me with it, throw bricks at me. The last thing was he bought a bullwhip, and that's when I ran away. So I killed him.
Martin's claims made it clear that his distorted perspective hadn't developed overnight. It was shaped by a series of events that left deep scars on his childhood. However, what detectives uncovered next was far more shocking than anything he had confessed before.
But you left the house with the gun.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna leave it there. This ain't the first time I'm killing. I got caught with the first gun on the first body. They just couldn't prove it was me.
Where was that at?
New Jersey. I gave the guy's name is Jamie Molina. I killed him on October 13, 2013, Northgate Park, broad daylight.
Why'd you do that?
He robbed me.
What was his name?
Jamie Molina.
In the past, Martin had served time for various charges, including assault, theft, and even murder. He had previously managed to escape serious consequences through clever manipulation, slipping through the cracks of the justice system with unsettling ease. As he proudly recounts these incidents, detectives were able to get a more clear understanding of his mind and its darkness. However, there is also a different side to him apart from the senseless monster he has proved himself to be.
You guys are making it harder than it needs to be. All you have to do is say I'm guilty on paper. That's it.
We're not trying to make it complicated.
Well, they are. You know how many people was on that street? Then you got...
No, we weren't over there, so we had no idea, to be honest.
You know what I find amazing is, if I'm in a police car and you have people walking up there that I guess they feel some type of way that I killed them. If you're really gonna do something to me, why are you standing in front of the cops? Why not just wait till the police car starts moving and shoot at it? So you want to be seen. And this is why I can't live with. People on the streets are stupid. They don't have no sense. They want to be seen. They want to be the center of attention. I don't. Just put me back in the box and forget that pill, whatever. I don't care. Whatever, however they're going to play it. Send me back there. I don't want to be seen. I don't belong out here, man. I can't get used to this out here. They don't have no respect out here. Everything is a problem out here. If I walk too hard, it's a problem. If I don't get a job fast enough, it's a problem. You know how much I weighed when I moved to my sister's house? 320 pounds. Do I look like I'm 320 pounds, man? Because they starved me.
Martin is a man who is acutely self-aware and fully conscious of his surroundings. He explains with unsettling ease why he preferred life in prison over freedom on the streets. His straightforward confession to all his crimes began unraveling the questions that had kept detectives on edge. They finally realized that it wasn't an impulsive, senseless crime Martin committed. Rather, it was premeditated, driven by deep-seated emotions and a twisted sense of purpose. As the interrogation continued, Martin unveiled even more concerning details about his family and the source of his intense disgust toward them.
You want another piece?
No.
You good?
Yeah. Hey, listen to this, right?
Yeah.
That dude is 50 years old, right? My sister's 33.
Mm-hmm.
You're good at math. They've been together for 16 years.
So she was young.
And that would make him old. He chased my sister around all the way to Missouri at that age. So, okay, to me that's a... Alright, so recently I went into the room. I was looking for my niece. And I'm calling her name, I don't hear her, so I went into his room. And he's laying down. So he's in there, he got his hand in his pants. My niece pops her head from under the blanket. So I'm like, what are you doing? So, I was playing with daddy's phone. So I'm like, alright, that's weird. I asked my sister about, like, yo, you allow that? Like, him to have Ian in the bed like that while he's playing with himself? She's like, oh, you're thinking too much into it. So then the second time he was on the couch with her. The couch is small, man. So I told my niece, I said, yo, she was like, yeah, I was laying down with daddy. I said, what, on the couch? I said, that ain't weird to you? Cause she was like, nah. I said, okay. And then he made a comment to me one time. It was two, like, I think they was like 15 or 16 years old, girls walking, and we're driving by, and he was like, man, look at them. I'm like, man, they jitterbugs. What the f you talking about? Them little girls. He like, nah, they girls. I said, man, them little girls, man. You can't tell the difference between a little girl and a grown woman, dude. So, I mean, that might be part of the reason why I didn't want him alive. He already made my sister a victim of the stupidity because you convinced her. She started calling herself stupid. And I used to be like, why you keep calling yourself stupid? Because he told you that? He molded you to say you're dumb. And then my sister wanted to tell me something the other day, and he walked in and she shut up. Because she said, you know, I don't want, my nephew had a situation with a female. He snuck out and went to her house, came back at 4 in the morning. So, and then my sister called the girl's mom, and the girl's mom said her daughter told him no. So I told my nephew, I said, dude, that's because she said that, and it's true. So then my sister was sitting in the living room with me, and she was like, yeah, man, you know, I'm gonna have to send him to his dad. And then she went to say something else. He walked in, and she shut up. So I was like, yo, finish what you were saying. Like, you was great, say something. And she was like, nah. So I said, yo, did something happen? Like, did something happen between Jaden and Yana, or your husband and Jaden or something? Because when Jaden was 10 years old, Tony used to take showers with him when he was 10. And I told her that when we was in Chicago. I said, yo, I don't like that. That's a little weird to me. That's not his dad, so there's no reason why he should be in a tub with a grown man naked. Oh, don't worry about it. He's showing him how to take. Man, he's 10 years old. So that's the reason I think he's a. And I think he's been preying on kids ever since my sister. You're 50, my sister's 33. They've been together for 16 years. If nobody could do math, put it on paper. It don't add up.
Detectives were unsure if Martin was being entirely truthful. His allegations were severe, with no one left to confirm or deny them. While he seemed eager to go back to prison by justifying his actions with a series of narratives, the detectives knew they didn't need much anymore to charge him for the monstrosity he's shown. The investigation finally reached its climax with Martin Munes' arrest following his chilling confession. Criminals desensitized to their actions often show no guilt, with their repeated offenses eroding any sense of morality. Detectives suspected Martin had been immersed in criminal activities for years, which dulled his conscience and stripped away accountability. For Martin, prison was not a punishment, but a refuge, a place where life's struggles were simplified to eating, sleeping, and existing without the burdens of earning or societal judgment. Killing 4 members of his sister's family was his ticket back to the only place that felt like home, a world where he faced no discrimination and where, disturbingly, life felt normal to him. Martin was charged with 4 counts of aggravated murder and 1 account of attempted aggravated murder. During court hearings, prosecutor Michael C. O'Malley referred to him as a vicious mass murderer. Martin pleaded guilty on August 22, 2024, and received 4 consecutive life terms without parole. After some days, the youngest survivor was recovering from her trauma and injury. Family and friends also came to pay their respects to the victims, and they also shared their feelings towards this horrific crime. Gloria Hernandez, Angelique's best friend, expressed her feelings about losing Angelique.
She's loving, caring. She would bend over backwards for anyone that she loved. I mean, there's friends here that can testify for that.
Martin Munes' case is a grim reminder of the darkness that grows when alienation and moral decay go unchecked. For him, prison wasn't a punishment, but a twisted refuge from a world he no longer fit into. As the justice system closes this chapter, we're left to ask, how many more like him walk the line between isolation and violence? Sometimes, the most chilling part of a crime isn't the act itself, but the motives that make it seem justified to the one committing it. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear your opinions and perspectives, so let us know in the comments.